Welcome to Family Friday. Ephesians 4, verses 28 through 29, provides guidelines for a higher standard of speech and behavior expected of those claiming to be followers of Jesus. And let's just summarize that. First, selfishness must stop. Second, believers must position themselves to have the resources to help other people in physical and emotional need. Third, followers of Jesus are to be people of grace, bringing healing to whatever situation they encounter. When falsehood and anger are tolerated, malice, that is, evil thoughts, is likely to swell within us. And this grieves the very Spirit of the Lord, which indwells us and marks us as God's. That's Ephesians 4, verse 30. Therefore, we need to detect evil thoughts within ourselves. It's kind of like what Jesus says. But what comes out of the mouth proceeds from the heart, and this is what defiles. That's Matthew chapter 15, verse 18. Malice is the catch-all word for all the vices listed in Ephesians 4:31. And I'll just paraphrase them. Bitterness or resentment, out of control anger, desiring revenge over reconciliation, verbal shouting of abuse, and slander. Unresolved conflict feeds bitterness, and bitterness is often a passive aggressive form of anger. The issues of contention may never be discussed, but those issues are always present. And then this resentment or bitterness can give way to out of control rage, words, punches, objects hurled with no thought of potential damaging. Yelling at one another is another type of out of control anger. Now, venting may be appropriate when done in the presence of a trained counselor, but the damage it does when exercised in the presence of family is immeasurable. In contrast to the out of control anger or rage, there is the cold, calculating plot for revenge that waits when the victim least expects it. Esau had this type of malice. Instead of trying to kill Jacob immediately, he targeted his revenge after the death of Isaac, the father. Revenge is a type of malice that purposely bypasses reconciliation for cruel punishment or revenge. It does not resolve the situation, but creates a tit for tat cycle that eventually destroys everything. Now, the final form of malice mentioned in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31 is that of villainizing or slander. This is when you try to dehumanize the other person who has hurt you, or you're trying to intimidate. And so rather than show them, talk about them as a person with both good and evil within them, we make them a one-dimensional person that's just straight evil. If you're familiar with John Gottman, he identifies the very ideas and behaviors of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31, of course in contemporary terms. That's the harsh startup, the personal criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, flooding, and revising the past in negative ways and expressing no hope for the future. Now, whether you prefer Gottman's words or those of Ephesians 4:31, let me ask you this. How do any of these behaviors and words fit in with the gospel of Jesus? I mean, after all, it was the leaders of Jerusalem who exhibited all the forms of malice mentioned in Ephesians 4:31 against Jesus. I mean, how can we join in with those folks against the very ones for whom Jesus has died? Familiarize yourself with Ephesians 4:31. Detect the types of malice that fosters in your heart and get rid of it. Until next time, do not grieve the Spirit who lives within you.